Hi there, this is Art and Such, and today I'm going to show you how you can make a hair wrap. Now you're going to want to have some embroidery thread on hand, some scissors, an elastic. I'm going to use a rainbow loom band. If you have a charm or a bead you want for the end, you can get that handy. And you're going to want somebody with some hair. I'm using a dollar store fake hair extension. It's this pretty blue, and I'm going to show you on here today how this works. So the very first thing that you want to do is make a braid in your hair, because if you've got your hair like this, all your pieces are going to be loose, you're going to have sections coming out, and it's also going to get caught in the threads and your hair is going to break and rip and it gets messy. So to braid, we separate the hair into 3 strands, whatever section of hair you're going to braid, and you can do any size of a section. And what we do is we take the one on the right, we bring it over and into the middle. You're going to switch places with the side one, and now we go from the left and we go back into the middle, and the right one into the middle again. And we're going to do a braid. We're going to try and keep it a little bit tight, because again, we don't want our hair to be loose and flopping about. If you're wondering what I've got this pinned to, it's just a cushion I use for my macrame and embroidery. But you could really pin this if you're using a fake hair extension. You could pin it to your pants or your shoes or a blanket if you don't mind the possibility of getting a hole in it. And just wherever it works. We're going to go pretty close to the end here, and this is where you want your elastic ready. We're going to put it over the end, give it a twist, put it back over, twist it, and wrap it until it's very secure and your braid isn't going to come loose. Now later on, you can take this elastic off, and you can leave it on as well if you want. So I'm just going to hold this up to show you. We have now a braided section of hair. The next thing you're going to do is pick your colors for the threads that you want in your wrap. And you can have as many colors as you want, as many strands as you want. For this thickness, you want about 5 strands. And you might be able to see here, I have a variety of colors, and that's because I changed the colors partway through. I'll show you how you can add or change colors. But to start off, you're going to get 5 colors of string. And I'm using just basic embroidery thread. And you want to measure your string to about 3 times the length of your piece of hair. I'm just going to do some short ones here because this is a demonstration video. I want to show you the techniques more than I'm looking to show you the entire piece together. Now, okay, let's get this already. I'm going to get a blue color next. I'm going to get a green. And as I said, I will show you this with 5 strands. If you want it to be thicker, if you want your section to be thicker, you can use more. If you want it to be thinner, you can use fewer strands, but the more colors you have, the more fun you can do with combinations, right? Now I want to show you something here before we go on. So I'm going to pinch my threads together. Now, some of your threads are going to be really long. And let's say that I want my green to show up 2 times. I'm going to fold it over, and I'm going to use this as 2 of my 5 strands. And it's okay if the thread could run out, or you could end up with some extra. I will show you how to add on. But ideally you want it about 3 times the length of your hair again. And if you fold it over, you can get a loop which is a little bit easier to attach. And I'll show you how that goes. Maybe I'll make a little loop with these other ones as well. Now you're going to go to the top of your braid, and you're going to find a spot, and you're going to bring your loop under, bring all the threads over and through the loop. So I'm going to put 2 fingers through the loop. I'm going to grab the rest of the threads and I'm going to pull them through. This is going to make a knot. You don't want it too tight if you're doing this on real hair, because you want to be able to take it off later. But if you have a hair clip and you want to secure it by putting it through a hair clip, you can do that as well. Right, we're ready to start wrapping. So I just hold this up one time so you can see it's just tied on in a knot at the top, or you can tie it to a clip and attach the clip on top instead. Now to do a basic first wrap, I'm going to secure this just a little bit better because mine isn't. We're going to put this through the clip, I think. Just make sure I don't lose this here. Now you're going to pick a color if you want to do a basic straight wrap, which looks like this. And you're going to take your hair and your threads and hold them together in your left hand or your less dominant hand. And the color you want to wrap with, you're going to bring it over the direction you want it to go and reach under and grab it from the back. Now I'm going to put my hand behind so that it holds on to the piece that I just wrapped. I'm going to bring it over again, and I'm going to grab it from the other side, and I'm going to put my finger there to hold it, because if I let my finger off, it's going to start sliding down, and if I let this hand go loose while I grab it, it's going to go and get loose again. So I throw it over, I'm going to reach underneath and bring that thread back to the right side. And you start to do this a little bit faster. You can also hold on to the threads just underneath, but keep this one really tight. I'm going to show you a little cheat in just a minute. And you wrap it for as long as you'd like. So again, we're just throwing it over the top, grabbing it. I'm going to grab it with my left hand now, and then I'm going to grab it again from underneath with my right hand. And you can see here I didn't need my hand at the back anymore because it's really tight, but you can always keep a hold there. Now I'm going to show you one cheat. You don't want to do this on real hair because you're going to get knots in your hair and you're going to have to cut out a chunk. But if you're using a fake extension, what you can do between sections to hold pieces in place is bring your string over, and we're going to do like a macrame knot where you have a hole here and you can reach through and bring it back into the side. So this is if you're using a fake piece like I am, and if you want to hold your place, or even if you're using hair and feeling confident and want to hold your place and then undo the knot after. I wouldn't recommend this for real hair though. Now I'm going to show you how to make a basic stripe. And for a stripe, you're going to pick out 2 colors that you like and put them on the side. And you're going to decide which one you want on your under layer. You hold on to all of your other colors, and with your underlayer color, you're going to start wrapping again. So this time I'm not holding on in the back. I'm just going to keep this tight. I'm going to hold on to my strands and the hair, and I'm going to keep circling this green around. Hold it really tight. If you see it sort of loosening up, you can kind of push it up with your fingernail, with your thumb. Just going to wrap this a little more, and then I'll show you a thing or two before we do stripe. So now before I do my stripe, I want to make sure I have a firm hold on that. And you can see that this green section is a little bit thinner than the pink one because we took one strand out. And that's the blue one we have on the side. Now with the blue one, you decide how tight you want your stripes to be. And you're going to wrap it around your bottom layer accordingly. but still hold on to your bottom piece. That's where it gets a little bit difficult. You can see it's even starting to get a little loose when I'm doing this, but I'm going to keep holding on. Alright, so I'm just going to switch back to blue for my next wrap, and I'm going to do a basic hole wrap again. So I'm going to bring it over, over where my finger is and grab it, and wrap it a couple of times, and that's going to start securing this all into place again. So this is what we have so far. We have the pink section, we have green with blue on top, and then we have just blue. I'm gonna make the blue go a little further. You can see I'm pressing up with my thumbnail to make it tighter there. Now there isn't really a set length for how far each section should go. You can make them really short, you can make them really long, you could even do it all in one color, or just stick to plain wraps if you want to. Next thing is the X. I'm going to show you it with 2 colors to start, and then I'll show you with 1 color. So I'm going to make my X have green and pink on it. I'm going to pull those strands to the side. I'm going to make my bottom wrap layer blue, so it will contrast. So let me get a good hold of this here. So I'm holding on to most of the strands. I've pulled out 2 colors or 2 threads that I want for my X, and I've pulled out another color that I'm going to wrap around. And this is going to be an underlayer just like what we had with the stripes. So I just wrap the blue like I normally would. This is a slightly different shade from the one I had on top. It's kind of nice because it blends in with the hair. That's another thing to kind of consider when you're doing these is if the person has really light hair, it's summery, you might want maybe lighter, brighter colors. Sorry about that, that's my phone. If the person has dark hair, maybe if you want something that contrasts, something light, you can use whites or browns or whatever. So I've got my underlayer done, and now I'm going to bring each of my strings to one side. So I have the pink on the left, the green on the right, and I'm literally just gonna bring them across. So I've just pulled them over each other, over the blue, and I'm gonna make it a little bit tighter, and I'm gonna repeat it. I'm gonna bring it, let me show you this first. Now I'm gonna bring the green to the back, and they're just gonna cross each other on the back side. And you can do multiple crosses, or you can just do 1 cross if you want. I'll show you that on the next section. So you get kind of a little X thing happening. Now I'm going to do a green one, kind of making this up as I go along. Let's do a green wrap, and then I'll show you what an X looks like if you're using 2 of the same color. I'm getting a text message there. Hope it's nothing too urgent. Okay, let me pull out 2 blues, and this is another reason why you might want to be folding over your colors and using 2 of the same. Those are pretty close. So I will do another green wrap here. Push this back so we've got more room. I've pulled 2 blues up to the top and the side. They're not going to be included in the threads that I wrap. So I'm going to do my base layer of green, and I'll hold this up for you to see in just a minute. So it goes over, and I grab it with my left hand. You can see those blues are standing out on the right because we're going to incorporate them in just a minute. Now we're going to do just like we did before, but I'm going to go across one way, across from the other direction, and I'm only going to do 1 cross this time. And then I'm going to start wrapping again. Just bringing one of my blues around to wrap it. because I want this to be really secure. And you don't want it to get too loose either. So there's that blue X. Finish this blue section and then I'll show you the next thing. Okay, so let me show you how to add on new threads. We'll do that next. Let's do, what's a nice color here? I'm gonna do pink here. This is similar to the pink I have already. So I'm just gonna get that together here, and you can add as many threads at a time as you want, but you don't want to do too many usually at once because then it gets kind of lumpy. So if you're using artificial like fake hair like this, what you would do is just tie it around all of the threads. I'll show you this both ways. So I'm gonna cheat here. I'm gonna tie off this blue section so this doesn't unravel. Don't do that with real hair. This is for demonstration purposes only. So what I could do here is I can take my pink and tie it around all of the hair and all of the threads. So you bring it around, you cross it in the back, from the back, you bring it in front and you press it through the hole. And you do that 2 times. Now here we don't want it to put it on the hair, so we're gonna just pull the strings, separate the strings out. And I'm gonna tie this around the strings. I'll just put the hair to the side. Try not to pull your friend's hair when you're doing this part. So it goes underneath. We're going to cross it around from the back. Now you have a little circle, a little hole. You're going to reach through from this side and bring it under. It's just a basic standard knot. And we're going to knot it a second time. But now we have a little tiny lump and we have an extra little thread, and we want to get rid of that. So we're going to pinch this all back with where the hair is. And I'm going to take another string. Let me find my green is a little long still. And I'm going to wrap over my newly added thread. So I'm really quite literally just wrapping on top of the one that I've added. You can see it blends in really well. Now there's a kind of a shortcut for the stripe, which actually looks just as nice as it does the other way. And that is when you take 2 strands together and you wrap them together. And you sort of want to try and keep your top one on the top and your bottom one on the bottom. So I'm wrapping the 2 strands at the same time. You can see I'm holding them both in my left hand. I'm going to grab them both with my right hand. I bring them back over with my left hand, back over to my left hand, which grabs it. And I'm going to keep repeating that for as long as I'd like. You can sort of play around with the different colors and whatnot. Now I'll show you 2 other things that you can do if you're working with artificial hair, or just at the bottom if you get to the end. Let me tie this off for the moment, and I'm going to show you my other hair wrap, which is almost all done. So this is what we did so far on this one. Just a quick review. We did a straight wrap. We did a base color wrap with a stripe on top. We did another plain one. We did one with X's or crisscrosses. Then we have solid green, a single X, but using the same color for both of the top threads. We have 2 plain ones, and this one covers the place where we added our new thread. And then we did a stripe using both strands together, and I just kind of finished that off in a moment. So I'm gonna just get this second one clipped on and ready. And I'll show you once you've got to the length that you'd like and you've tried the different patterns, I'll show you what you can do to finish this off. And there are a couple of things. So first of all, you want to make sure that you're at the bottom of the hair, and you can take the elastic off when you get there. or when you get to it and keep going till all of the hair is covered. So I could even wrap this just a little bit further. I'm going to show you right now. You can see there's a little bit of hair sticking out there. So I'm going to make sure that's all covered. When we tie our final knot or put on our beads, you don't want your hair to get caught in that. So let me do a couple of last wraps here. I'm just doing a straight single color wrap, single thread wrap. And when you've covered all of the hair and none of it is showing, you're going to do a knot like this. You're going to bring your thread on top, up and on top of your hair wrap, and you create a hole here. You want to reach into the hole and grab the thread and pull it back, and then bring it down and bring it close to the side and pull it tight. And you can do that a couple of times. Now at this point, you have a couple of choices. You can do a little braid at the bottom. You can do some knots or macrame. And I have a tutorial out about that. It's a little further back, you'll have to dig, but maybe I'll put a link in the description. Now the other thing that you can do is if you have a charm or a bead, you can put one or all of your strands through said bead. And once it's on, you just make another knot. So this time I'm going to go under, I'm making the hole, and I'm going to reach through. Make sure this is all on camera. I'm going to reach through the hole, take the threads, pull it back, and you always want to make sure that you have 2 knots there. So I'm going to do it one more time. And I think I'm going to do a couple of extra knots just to make it extra secure. And when you want to take the hair wrap off of the hair, this is just the last thing I should note, you can undo the clip it's attached to, you can loosen the knot at the top. Hopefully you won't have to cut it if everything's been done right. Or another thing you can do is undo the knots at the bottom if you don't have too many, and you can just unravel it because this is all a rolled on piece, right? So that is my tutorial on how to do a hair wrap. And I thank you all for watching. I hope you'll check out some of my other videos and tutorials.